On Facebook, right?
Facebook.
I listen to it all the time. Radio Malaysia. Track.
This is Traxx FM's morning show. BK with you all the way till 10, and come Fridays at 8:15 in the morning, we have a special show right here on Traxx, especially on the morning show. It is Property on Traxx with the man Gunaprasath Bupalan, the property guru, executive director, and editor of MJ Communications. Good morning, Guna. How are you?
Oh, good morning. Very good.
Another Friday, another week already.
Tell me about
In
it.
the middle of May, as it is, right?
You beat that.
I know.
Time is just flying.
Right. And
Flying.
in the last 4.5 months, 4 months plus, how's the property, the property life in Malaysia been looking like?
Well, there's been a lot of ups.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I've seen a lot of ups. Many people are not seeing it at the moment because it's all on the surface.
Right.
It's not on the surface. It's all back end that's being done.
Mm-hmm.
But you would notice that there have been a lot of launches.
Right.
Lots of things are happening. Lots of developers have come out, and new developers have come to the market. The older boys, the older developers have come up with more projects. So there's a lot of things happening at the moment. So it's whether we perceive it to be a good market or not. That's how we see it.
And you see it as the future being
I
bright?
see the future's being bright for sure.
Okay.
But what I see right now is the market is stabilizing. So it's going to take some time for the stabilizing to take place. So we've got to wait for that.
Okay.
Patiently wait for it. If anyone asks me the age-old question, should I invest now? I say, of course. It is the time to invest. If you've got the money to spend, you've got the holding power for your loans, go for it. Because the market is not going to get any less than this. The price is not going to go down. It's going to go up. So it's the right time to get into the market right now.
Okay. So what's the topic of discussion this morning, Guna?
Well, last week we went through some figures to make up what is happening in different sectors of the property market. We also identified an increase in sales compared to 2018 despite the overhang in properties in certain areas of the country. We also touched on some of the initiatives our new government has taken to ensure an easier entry for home buyers moving forward. Today, let's go a little deeper into this and discover certain areas that will influence the greater KL property market this year and beyond.
Okay.
Yeah, we have identified and concurred that the real estate market in the Klang Valley has been relatively slow. Yeah, everyone has said the same thing. A few years back, many bought condos, Soho, Sovo, Sofos, all the Sosos around, or their equivalent in anticipation of flipping them for a quick buck, and soon they have received their keys for their units. You know, all this has happened last year. Regrettably, most flippers failed and flopped.
Oh no.
Yeah. Today, these units are offered either at cost price or prices below their original launch price.
Which is a good thing for buyers, right?
It's a good thing for buyers, but for the person who bought it,
Yeah. They're going to be making a little bit of a loss.
yeah, because then will come the question: hey, I thought property was an investment that's going to go up.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. You know, even though price has dropped for them, because there's certain segments of the market that personally I would say don't touch. You know, if anyone asks me for my advice, I'd say don't touch certain areas.
Okay.
But if you happen to touch that area, it's not going to flop. What's going to happen is it's going to take time to go up.
Right.
You know, it'll take a longer time, so your holding period needs to be strong. If they can go through this period and hold on, price will go up again. You know, but then they look at it right now. If price has dropped, I better sell right now before I go on much more of a loss.
So you suggest for these buyers who bought it before, just hold it a little bit longer?
Hold it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. To answer this question, right, which is basically a lot of people have asked as well. Is investing in real estate now risky? Having said all this.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, to answer this, we need to look into certain areas and understand its influences in the property market, especially for Greater Kuala Lumpur, Greater KL, Greater Klang Valley. Yeah. This isn't just mentioned by me, but it concurs with many other experts and researchers from the industry that have reported, including a good friend of mine, Charles Tan.
Right.
Charles is a very influential guy, and his research is very strong. Yeah. The first area we need to look at is population. In 2016, Greater KL had a population of 7.2 million. By 2020, its population will grow to 10 million. Right? A compound annual growth rate, CAGR they call it, of 6% per annum. Education, jobs, and commerce areas are key drivers of growth in the Greater KL region. So what does this mean? Today, survey shows that the average size of our household is 4 persons.
Right.
All right. Hence, on average, every 1 million in population increment would translate to an increase in demand for homes of 250,000. Ultimately, they would need a roof over their head, be it by owning a property or even renting it. This leads us to the second area that we need to look at here, prices.
Okay.
Right? Today, almost 60% of Malaysian households are earning below 6,000 per month. 6,000 ringgit per month.
That's more than average.
That's more than average.
Right.
But
It's
if you take two people, 3,000, you're looking at about 6,000 household income. Having said that, right, the maximum affordable house price is estimated to be 350,000 ringgit. Right? This could explain why lots of developers today are launching new property units at 300,000 to 400,000, as this price point is considered affordable.
Because
in brackets,
they can't put it up any higher.
Yeah.
Because they can't afford it.
Correct. There are two methods to measure the affordability of a property in Greater KL by its local residents. This would tell us whether property prices would increase sustainably in the future. For example, let us take 400,000 ringgit as our property price point for a simple case study. Let's do a slight calculation here.
Okay.
Monthly installments. First, it takes 1,824 ringgit a month on monthly installments to service the mortgage for a property priced at 400,000 ringgit. Right, that's roughly about 1,800. Yeah. Typically, a person or a household making 5,000 ringgit a month would be able to afford the installments. Right? Let us assume that the property would appreciate to 500,000 ringgit in 5 years, and another person or household buys the same property. The new owner's installment is now 2,280 ringgit a month, which is still quite affordable even if their income is 5,000 ringgit a month. Right? So it's doable.
They still have more than half to.
Correct.
Right. To work things around.
Yeah. Right. The second area is the down payment. It takes 40,000 ringgit, 10% in down payment to buy a property priced at 400,000 ringgit. It is arguable whether households in Malaysia have the amount in hand to purchase the property. Right? Anyway, in 5 years' time, when the property has appreciated to 500,000 ringgit, the down payment to purchase the same property would go up to 50,000 ringgit. Right? Having said that, can property price appreciate sustainably in the future? Question mark, right? The answer would depend largely on the ability of residents to increase their monthly income and bank balances over the next 5 years.
And if they don't, are we looking at a
If
plateau?
they don't, we're having a bit of a problem here.
Okay.
Because this is the growth of property prices.
Right.
It's not going to go down. It can't go down. If property prices tend to go down backwards, it'll affect our economy tremendously.
Right.
And we don't want that to happen. We want the prices to go up. For any investor, you invest in something, you want the price to go up.
Okay.
And you've got to look towards that. Right? So if it doesn't happen, we're going to have a bit of actually a huge problem.
Okay.
Economically.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Just before we move on to the third area, we're going to take a quick short song break right now. We'll come back. We'll get back into more of this, and today's topic is the Greater KL property outlook. How is it going to be looking like in the next couple of months, in the next couple of years? Guna's going to break it down all for you. In the meantime, you can also check us out on Facebook at Traxx FM Official. We're going on live right now. Guna, you're on camera. You can look at the front and smile and wave. Yeah, that's right. Already got some comments as well. We'll try to address you guys off air. In the meantime, here is Sway Lee and Post Malone with Sunflower. Right
I
now.
love this song.
Nice.
Nice. What's the questions that we have, man? The questions.
No questions. Everyone just saying good morning. So you want to say morning to them?
Good morning.
Wait, let me switch this on. Yeah, I gotta switch you off. Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
You've got Rosafina Chai and
Rosafina.
Celia Malong saying good morning.
Celia Malong. Good morning.
Morning. If you guys have any questions you'd like to ask Guna, you can post it in the comment section. We'll try to help you out as much as we can, okay? In the meantime, we'll come back to this in a bit and we'll catch you live. Alright.
Right. Right, I've
year.
been meaning to watch it, but I never had a chance.
If you like the comic book culture,
Yeah.
this story, this animation was made in a comic book kind of vibe, you know. So
Right,
you actually
right.
look like you're actually reading a comic
Like the
book.
Cabal,
Yeah,
you know.
you don't get much of the Cabal, but the graphics is really good.
Right.
The graphics and the soundtrack and the movie is damn good. This is the main song, but they've got a few other songs which are also damn good.
Dude, I love this song. Man. Yeah.
I tried picking the shortest song so you can talk more. This is the shortest song, like 2 minutes 35 seconds.
Perfect. I think we can cover it.
Yeah. Movie Into the Spider-Verse. Have you watched that one yet, Guna?
Not yet.
You should
I've been
catch it,
I've been
man.
meaning to.
Yeah,
Yes.
the soundtrack, the movie is actually pretty cool.
Yep.
Well, Guna's in the studios right now, talking a little bit about property on Traxx, and today's topic, the Greater KL Property Outlook. Earlier on, we were discussing a little bit about the prices and also the prices and also the population within the Klang Valley itself. Now, let's go on to the next area.
Next area to look at is policies.
Policies.
Yeah.
All right.
The Singapore property market is a classic example of how its government can influence prices based on its policies on home ownership. Lately, it introduced a few more cooling measures to suppress its property prices, such as a revision in the additional buyer stamp duty, the rates there, right? And tightening of limit on its loan-to-value ratio. Here in Malaysia, our government is committed to build about 100,000 affordable homes in 10 years.
Right.
Right? Would it impact the property market in Greater KL in the future?
Would it?
Well, the population in Greater Kuala Lumpur is increasing from 7.2 million in 2016 to an average of 10 million in 2020,
Right.
an increase by approximately 700,000 a year.
Is that a lot?
It's a lot. So based on the earlier mentioned average size of 4 persons in a household, we would need to build 175,000 properties a year to house the rise in population. Right? Hence, the 100,000 affordable homes in 10 years, that's 10,000 homes in 1 year, is minuscule to be of impact to the Greater Kuala Lumpur property market.
So you wouldn't actually see much of a difference in it?
No.
Because it's
Yes.
really tiny.
Really tiny. So if you do the math behind it, 100,000 homes per year does not justify it. It does not sync with what needs to happen.
So basically, there's a population that's increasing way more than the amount of houses that are being built.
Correct.
Okay.
By the government.
Right.
Well, what's proposed by the government. So how do we curb this? What do we do? This is where the private entities need to get involved. The government is giving this much. They're willing to do this much to help the situation. Private developers have also got to have that little courtesy and emotional bone in them. And they've got to come out and say, okay, fine, we will take care of the rest. Then we can see it grow properly. We can see it grow to the goals that we want to see.
There has to be a synergy.
There has to be a
between two
synergy.
parties, right?
Yeah. All right. The fourth area is preferences. Right. Malaysia is a youthful nation with 20% of its entire population currently at an age of 20 to 29 years of age. Right. If you look around, it is common to find new properties to be developed with features and amenities which are catered to the lifestyle for residents in this age group, the millennials.
I'm putting up my hand to this.
Yep, I totally agree with it.
Right.
You know? If you're not in that age group, as an investor, it is good to start thinking like one. Right? How much are they making a month? Do they save? What do they like to spend on? Is the location you are buying into accessible to their main and many wants in their daily lives? Can most of them afford to buy their own properties? do they prefer renting? The answers to these questions, I believe, are helpful guides to investing in the right kind of property at the right location. Right? Because if you turn around and look at it, most developers right now, it's not about the size of the property any longer. If you notice, most property launches, it's difficult for you to find any properties above 1,300 square feet.
That is true. I think the old school condos were the ones from the early 2000s.
Correct.
Which had a huge space, a huge living area, a huge kitchen.
I mean, if you ask me as a personally, right, I prefer space. I look at property, I look at space. Because to me, space means you can do a lot with it.
Right.
You know, and it's easier to dispose of later
And
on.
it's your home after all, right?
Correct. Yeah. But if you look at it in today's culture and how things are today, you'll notice that they've swayed towards smaller units but more facilities. And why more facilities? Because they're catering to the lifestyle of the new buying market, which are the millennials.
And you would probably see them as being a little bit more centralized as well?
Yeah,
all those
because you see,
together?
it's a lot of integrated developments that are coming up right now. TODs, transit-oriented developments, integrated developments, where you've got everything under one roof. So you work, you play, you reside in the same place, you know, under the same roof. So that's the trend that we're looking at right now. Well, so how do we conclude this, right? A bright future to properties in Greater Kuala Lumpur. That's what I see, right? Overall, the property market in Greater Kuala Lumpur is not as bad as it seems. In fact, it is promising with greater connectivity and continuous growth in population from both locals of other states and foreigners as well.
Right.
Yeah? Presently, the income bracket for an average household in Malaysia is relatively low. Right? This means we are not exactly a rich or high-income nation at this moment. Right? Having said that, properties for low to middle income earners would remain resilient in the future. This is what I see. And this is how I see Greater Kuala Lumpur to be growing. So if you want to see it work, like I said, we need the compromise, and we need the sync of the government and private entities and homeowners to start looking at ways to not just enter the market, but how do you exit the market as well?
Also given with the current financial situation as well.
Correct.
So you got to take all those into consideration as well.
Correct. So always look at this when buying into property, investing into property. It's not about investing. It's about smart investing.
Right.
So invest smartly.
Okie dokie.
Yep.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode on Property on Traxx. Yes, we're speaking to Gunaprasath Bupalan, the Property Guru, Executive Director and Editor of MJ Communications. On today's topic, Greater KL Property Outlook. Guna, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Always my pleasure to be here.
I shall catch you next Friday. And yes, if you want to watch this episode or even listen to this episode, you can even find us on Traxx FM Official on Facebook. The video is going to be up shortly. And well, I've got a very quick question from one of our commenters over here. They said, "Morning guys, just want to ask, is there a limit on how many property a person can have?"
No, there isn't.
Right.
You can own all the property you want.
So Carlson, you can own as much
you can
as you want?
you can own as much property as you want, but it's not going to be easy to obtain loans.
Okay.
After your second property, it's a bit more difficult to obtain loans, and you may not get the margin you're looking for.
Okay. That is Guna's advice over there. If you want to be just like Carlson, well, you can still leave some comments. Perhaps next week we could address some of the questions that you're putting up on the Facebook page. Once again, it's at Traxx FM Official. This has been the morning show. My name is BK. Coming up right now, here is Panic at the Disco with High Hopes right now on Traxx.